Everybody, you're going to love this interview with Tory. Tory Archbold is one of the most powerful and connected women in Australia. As CEO and founder of Powerful Steps, she is a force to be reckoned with, and the author of Self Belief is Your Superpower. She's here to tell us more about our personal brand. Tory, welcome and tell us, why does your personal brand matter?
Personal brand matters on so many different levels, Jeannie, because we would not have met if we were not an energetic match, which meant you probably Googled me. I definitely Googled you. You go down the rabbit hole and you actually trust yourself. Is this a good connection for me to create a partnership with, to go for a job interview with, or to set up business with? So our personal brand says so much about us because it's anchored to our truth. But most importantly, it's anchored to our values, our intent, and our purpose. And we're so lucky because Captain Google actually works for us in this instance. The more information we put in that's anchored to what we want to attract, the more likely those doors that we really want to open in our career are going to open.
A lot of people are just happy that they show up when people Google them. And some people have such common names that you type it in and it's just so many different Google results. Tell us, what is important about when people Google themselves? What do they need to know?
Yeah, you got to beat the algorithm, and your digital footprint is so important. So, we developed this 5 point story framework, which we work with a lot of leaders around the world to transform their brands because they have exactly the same issues. Someone Googles them and, they could be a jailbird from Ohio that's been busted for drugs, but actually they're leading a global team and they've got this great credibility in the workforce, but they don't have it online. So I always say when you take ownership of your story and you actually work with platforms such as LinkedIn, which has the biggest algorithm in the world, and you consistently show up and you give value to others, that is the fastest and most accurate way you can actually remove that person that some people may think is you and actually replace them with the wisdom and what you have to share with the world. And we see that works really, really well when you actually just open up a Google Doc and you go through 5 points of your story, which is, where did you grow up? What kind of an environment was it that, you were blessed to be born into? The second part is, when you left school, who did you want to be? So for me, my parents wanted to box me as an interior designer. I have 3 kids, a white picket fence, and that was going to be my life, but I decided to jump out of the box, back myself, go to London, had the opportunity to work, on the working holiday visa with media giants like MTV Europe. I worked with Nickelodeon, Columbia TriStar, George Lucas Films, fell in love with storytelling. So then when I go to my Google Doc in part 3, it's okay. I backed myself. I started my first business when I was 24 years old. I attracted the world's top performing retail brands, celebrities, influencers. How did I do it? It's actually part 2 of my story. It's like backing myself, falling in love with what lit me up, which was storytelling. So then you go into part 4 of your story, which really is after you've had this great success and survival piece, you're always hit with a challenge in this lifetime. So for me, it was a near-death experience 10 years ago, completely transformed my life. Instead of selling my business, I decided to shut it and start again. And that's where the power of my story really came from, because I was so used to being behind the scenes, telling other people's stories and achieving great success for them. But I wasn't doing it for myself, which then when you go into point 5 of my story, it was like, okay, I'm not wearing little black dresses anymore. I can wear color. I can actually stand in my truth. I can share the power of my story, which when you look at the framework of it, it was success and survival. And that's what birthed my business, Powerful Steps, and which brought me to speak to you today about how do you tell your story? It's by taking ownership of who you are. Stories are for each and every one of us to own, to share, and to pay forward what we've learned, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever. What it does is it places you in a position, just like a product or a service, that narrates a story that people want to follow and become a part of. And that's how not only do you build a powerful brand, you build your own powerful brand.
Hey, Tori, it's always great to talk to you. Thank you so much for being on Liftoff.
Thank you for having me, Jeannie. And I wish everyone a successful lift off on LinkedIn.
That is all we have time for today, but you can follow us on social for more tips, behind the scenes content, laughs, and so much more. See you next time.